Hi Ed.
Hello, Mary.
I thought today I could talk about the injustice of poverty. And it's one of the reasons I got interested in politics was because of injustice, and poverty particularly, because its ramifications for every aspect of life. That monetary poverty leads to poverty of health, poverty of education, of employment, of opportunity, across the world, and that doesn't change. Across the world, it's exactly the same. And it's relative. Poor people in this country are not as poor as people in some other parts of the world where there just isn't enough food to get through the day, never mind the week or the month. So it's a relative thing as well. And I find it frustrating as well, because I know that we need a worldwide change in politics.
We do.
In monetary systems and economic systems for it to really make a difference.
Yeah, we need an end to capitalism, in short.
Absolutely, absolutely. And if we could just do that in the next couple of weeks, that would be great. But in the meantime, I take the approach of thinking, what can I do as an individual to make a difference? I can be politically active, which hopefully I am. And I can go on demonstrations, and I can write to my MP, and I can do all sorts of things. But is that really for me making a difference? And so one of the dilemmas is about giving to charity, or supporting a charity in some way, either by working for it, helping it, or by giving money to it.
Yes, the question is, does giving to charity within the context of this society, does it simply perpetuate the problem and allow a few non-political people or Tories to salve their consciences by saying to themselves they're doing something good to help the poor?
I think you're right, actually. I think it does at one level. Because we can see that happening more and more. The government is shelving its funding for essential services that support people, like the welfare state services. And I think they believe that, well, charities will pick it up, it'll be all right. And I think that was what was behind David Cameron's Big Society as well. That he thought that that's what would happen, that it would just, that sort of disappear anyway. But surely there's a role for communities to support their own.
Yeah, and I think. Sorry?
I was going to say, historically, that's what's happened.
Yes.
Communities have looked after each other.
So I think the question must be, by starting with helping alleviate poverty locally, how do we develop a movement that also builds community solidarity and comes to realize that part of its work is a political objective of changing the way society works, so that we don't have a society that produces poverty and inequality like the present capitalist society does?
I think one of the roles that we have as activists is to encourage other people to get angry too. So, for example, in supporting free school meals for children who in term time receive free school meals, but in the holidays have never had it until just this pandemic. That was an example that everybody got very, well, not everybody, but so many people got very angry about it. And it took a footballer who was even more angry about it to get the government to make a U-turn.
Yes, he was actually more effective
Absolutely.
than the Keir Starmer leadership of the Labour Party.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, it was a very good example of how you can actually build up a volume of anger that changes the government. And it was the embarrassment that the professional footballer, Marcus Rashford,
yes,
that he put it, that the embarrassment that he caused the government caused the policy to change. And so I think as activists, we have a role to do that. We can build up other people's anger. So in supporting, for example, our local food bank, which will be supporting families in poverty all the time, has been for a long time. And I know it's just temporary, it's just, day to day, week to week, etc. But at least there are people who aren't going hungry, that today they are hungry, they need food today. We can't wait for the world's economic strategies to change so that those people today get fed. We have to find a way of feeding them right now. And so it's easy to get to.
And do you think that the work we're doing with the local food bank is also helping to develop a political movement that will contribute to the consciousness of the population relating to the need for a change in society?
Yeah, I'd like to think we do, but what we need to do is to make sure that the awareness, first of all, building up awareness that people need food, and a lot of people donate to the food bank. It doesn't matter what political party, if any, they belong to. They may not belong to one, they may be apolitical completely, but people do give to the food bank because they want to help. And if that can then be built up, which is our role as activists, if that can be built up to turning that into voting in the right way, and we set the political agenda that says, if you vote this way, you're more likely to increase poverty. If you vote that way, you're more likely to decrease it. And pointing out and turning people's wish to help into political activity as well, because that's the only way we can change the politics.